Finishing our project, the skies, the clouds, the water down below. So I worked quite a bit more on the painting that we've seen in the first in the beginning of the video, and now I'm continuing the painting. This is before the work was done. The work was added, and so we can see that I very carefully followed like the initial idea that there will be clearly a darker area within clouds formations. There will be clearly like this focal point of more yellow and more highlighted and more colorful areas here in the middle of that cloud formation. So I kept it going, and there is almost no difference in what I'm doing ever since the details started. And the details are simply these things that come in progressively more towards the end, and they are smaller visual elements. Those are details. And in particular, if we're looking at what I'm doing, I am establishing highlights on the topmost areas of the clouds where the light hits the clouds. And so I'm establishing these highlights by mimicking the shape of the cloud, this kind of fluffy, rounded, broken up into small segments of puffy, roundish cotton ball type of cloud thing. So I'm bringing in details, I'm marking them, I'm looking at the reference, looking at the picture that I'm using to paint this painting, and then I am mixing. Sometimes for the highlights I am using, at this point it's possible to use like pure white, because everything else is just slightly off white now. So here we are coming in with really saturated, really lit up, really highlighted light. And so I kept on building that, and here I wanted to show you guys the glazing method. So to glaze, it's to put a transparent coat over existing coat. So I am taking down the intensity of the orangey white or brownish lighter area within the clouds. I thought they were too colorful, and I wanted to lighten the blue, darker blue, and I wanted to knock back the strength of the orange. So I mixed another lighter blue, and I diluted it with water, and I am applying it with the brush, kind of fanning it on like lightly, like a kind of feathery, and also rubbing it into the surface, the paint. And so it's like a transparent coat of paint got on some of these things, and it combined things really nicely. It added a bit of lighter, a bit milky kind of glaze over top. And then in this segment I am taking another area within the cloud formation that didn't quite get the details needed. So I'm looking at a picture, and I'm picking up on some of the ways that the clouds are flowing. So the light is kind of catching on these semi-round kind of patterns within the cloud. It's gases, matter, and that's how I'm seeing it. So I'm just kind of drawing these roundish shapes, wiggly shapes in, and I am giving them the highlight, a bit of lighter color, and I'm not yet putting pure white. I am putting like a version of a really pale blue at first, and then once that dries, then I'll do what you've seen me do in other areas where pure white comes in, even further highlighting the area, and not everywhere, just a small percent of surfaces highlights. And take a look at each section of the painting. So there is almost no empty areas in terms of like the quality of attention that's been introduced. So yes, there are some less loaded areas, less loaded with detail, and but it doesn't mean that they are not qualitative. There's still a gradient from light to dark. There are some like a little bit of lighter, a little bit of darker brushwork is visible within shadows and within other areas of the sky. And definitely the most details is going into the portrait of the cloud formation. So what I'm thinking about here as I'm painting, I'm wanting to carefully attach all of the light details. I want them to have a continuous type of attaching quality. Like there is the highlights that are on this orangey, pinkish, peachy-ish formation, but I am also dragging that highlights and that detail element of highlighting. I am moving it around further and further and connecting with the area of light that's below, that's already done, so that everything can kind of flow and meet one another. So each area ends up being adjacent to another area. So the continuity of the connection. This entire mass of light is there, all sitting all together, while it also contains these smaller detail elements. So this is the part of working where we get to develop further, perfect, distill, introduce more quality, more detail, to a point where things connect well, like that being masses of dark are connecting, and you can distinguish the darks, you can distinguish the midtones, and there is a satisfying amount of detail. Smaller elements are detail, and they're flowing in a satisfying pattern that is visually looks logical. So the eye believes what the eye is seeing. That the exercise is fairly challenging. We are asked to use a brush and a paint medium to compose an image that could be representative or recognizable of the clouds within the sky. So of course there is a degree of ability to just really carefully craft these portions of the picture and then connect them, trickle little areas of connection. Even now I'm going to fade from that lighter bluish area above, and I faded into the light orangish area, and then I went right back. And so let's take a look at the overall progress. I think at this point I figured that the clouds have gotten enough attention from me, and that they are working as one unit, uniformed and consistent and continuous, kind of picture. And then I decided to attend, as I am filming this, I am deciding to attend to the kind of empty-ish and underdeveloped area below the clouds. And so I wanted to create notion of reflection of all of these colors and highlights, and so there is a reflection in the water in the picture. So let's see how I'm resolving that. So I am mixing the colors from the cloud formation above the area of reflection. Like there's this highlighted bright yellow, there are all these kind of peachy, orangey and brown red colors and ochre kind of colors. There are gray or bluish purples, there are light blues, and they're all above. So I am mixing these colors and I'm introducing them onto the surface of the what is the surface of the water. Supposedly it's just a painting, it's the surface of the painting, but it will be representing reflective quality within the water. So I am dropping all of these colors from above, from like whatever is above this area, and it's that highlighted and orangey and lighter area of the clouds. I built that into kind of roughly into that area in the middle where the dark shape was. And now I need to connect the shadow, like the darker area of the lake or the ocean, of the water, to the what I just placed as the highlights in the light area. So I mixed once again the color from the background from the darker palette of what was used to paint the water. It's this dark purple with a bit of black in it almost. And then I am following a horizontal brush stroke kind of pattern. I'm kind of carefully laying these longish kind of horizontals to connect things. Like even right now I am doing softening the edge of what I painted within the water. I am now softening it with another neutral lighter blue, so that there is continuous and soft edge connection between newly added painted areas and the ones that exist beside them. So that like marrying, connecting all of this together. And then back and forth between the highlight and whatever the color information is being placed on the water, there's this back and forth with the background behind it or above it where the sky is. So let's see what else I'm planning to do there. I noticed that the sky was as light and dark on both sides, like the left and the right. So the left side needs to get lighter according to the reference, according to how light is distributing within the picture. It's all kind of coming from the left, so that left side of the sky on the bottom here can also get nice and light and edited. So I'm building a couple of notions. So I mixed like an even lighter blue, and then I mixed a little bit of darker blue and a little bit of purple in it. So now I will build a gradient going from left to right. All of the things that I work on within a painting, they are all adjustable and movable. Yes, there is value in setting everything up with an underpainting, with the blocking in the stage of painting as close as possible. But then what if I missed something? What if I made new choices with colors. What if, so it is, everything's adjustable. Why not take this section of the sky underneath the cloud formation and pronounce even more light coming from underneath and from beyond these clouds, and kind of connecting towards the reflection within the water. So I'm building color, no information. It's not just white, it's got warmth of some yellow mixed into it. Then right away I am also adjusting the bottom of the cloud to be a little lighter, because it was a little too heavy to be beside newly edited lighter area. And I think at this point I'm thinking about the edges of how light and dark meets within the water, and I wanted to spend some time and attend to the adjacent area, how light and dark will connect within the water, so that it looks refined, but it's not refined. It's just agreeing with my interest of what I would like to see within the painting. I like to see quite a bit of fade and softness on the edges of all of the different surfaces, because I'm trying to portray like a real landscape, like viewers gonna see, is supposed to see clouds and sky and water and reflection. So I set out to do that, and also I highlighted the reflection quite a bit, as we see. And I am now showing all of the close-up surface qualities and different little details, and you can see that there's a whole bunch of stuff, and you can see it's handmade. It's not super photorealistic. Like I'm not bothering to refine the surface of the painting to be like very smooth. It's not so necessary. There is a degree of painterly roughness, painterly quality, but overall picture, when we step back and look at it, it represents quite well what I'm trying to show, the kind of scene, or at least I would think that it does. And I'd love to hear more in comments, and I've been getting like a lot of thanks for sharing what you do, thanks for explaining, and keep up the good work. So I'm happy with the amount that I can share with you, and I'm also wanting to improve my sharing and bring everything. So this is the end for this project. Thanks for